that it was just like, something is deeply wrong with that
Wrong with,
person.
exactly.
But that reaction, I only had the privilege of that reaction because of the experiences that I had so far. I grew up in a country where, yes, tribe is an issue in Nigeria, but we're all black. Nobody ever made me feel less than. Not my white teachers.
Because we went to secondary school together.
Yes.
Right.
And we had white
teachers. Not my white teachers at Loyola, not my friends, not anybody had ever made me feel growing up that my blackness was any kind of deficit.
Right.
So you come up with that.
The confidence.
That confidence.
Yeah. I mean, in our school, we had pictures of Jesus and the disciples, and they were black.
You were black.
I love your school. I love your school. Where was your school?
It's here in Abuja.
Loyola College.
Oh, really?
Yes, pioneer class.
Jesus is black in your school?
Yeah, Jesus
That is so cool.
Yes. I graduated in 2002. He graduated in 1994.
Get out of here,
I all the time. It's our thing. But anyway.
Okay, because you're like forever 21, right? Or something like that. He's forever 30 or something.
Minimum. Minimum.
But yeah. So anyway, so I get that. And somebody once told me, and sorry, it's a bit of a long-winded answer, but one of my friends, who also spent a lot of time in the US, said one of the things that she dealt with in law school was an African American student once said, because I think she was contesting for something, something in the law review, like one of these student positions.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, you African students, you come here with all your confidence.
Yeah.
And at that point, it must have been a point of conflict, but it shines a light on the difference in experience.
Exactly.
So when people live under this crap for years, just at every turn you kind of have to deal, not every turn, but you're regularly reminded that in this society you're not considered up to. It leaves scars. It does.
Yeah.
And those scars are part of what, not part of, they drove the explosion that we saw in the US, and not just in the US, other parts of the world.
All over the world.
So yeah, I have dealt with it, but it's never been. I dealt with it in small enough doses over the 8 years that I lived in the US that I don't. The scars have been minimal. I don't say I carry no scars, but the scars have been minimal in my experience.
You've lived in the United Kingdom. Did you experience anything like that?
So I was in the UK for 11 years, almost 12, and very similar to him because he went to the same secondary school. So we never grew up. And fun fact, I didn't know where he was from until I came back to Nigeria.
Exactly.
It just didn't matter. I didn't know what tribe he was. I didn't know.
And we've known each other since we were 6.
Yeah.
But are you different tribes though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you?
I'm Idoma.
And you are?
Yoruba.
Demon.
Oh, okay. Yoruba demon.
Angel.
AY.
So
AY something?
So I didn't even know stuff like that. It just didn't matter because we didn't. All our friends, our circle of friends, were all from different places, and it's never been a thing. So I get to the UK, and at first I'm living in the countryside, in Boston, Lincolnshire, tiny little place, and everybody's white there. There's only like 2 black families, so population of black people 10.
Right.
Yeah, that's the truth. In my college, I was like the only one.
Wow.
And but Boston, Lincolnshire is a very funny place. They were racist, but not. I don't think there were enough black people for them to care about black people.
Right.
But they were racist towards the Portuguese.
That's a good point.
They used to call them the pork and cheese. The Portuguese and the Polish. So it was weird for me because like these are other white people. Why are you guys hating like them?
Yeah.
But they felt like the Polish guys were all over the factories and they just hated them. The Portuguese as well, they hated them. I said, but you guys will go to Portugal, go on holiday, love it. But then you come back and hate the Portuguese people.
Yeah.
Like I said, they always call them the pork and cheese. So that's what we went through in Boston. Then I went to university up north. Another place there's hardly any black people as well. But just like you, I was very popular there. I was like talking black guy most.
Why are black boys always popular?
I don't know. Like, well, so I was in uni.
Asking for your friend.
Yeah. so I was in uni. Like, I'm sure you had the whole thing with girls liking you just because you're black.
Yeah. Although I don't think I was as
identified. Oh, okay.
And I was in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
A black person in Cleveland is the norm.
Oh, okay.
But I think my university might have been like 3 or 4% black. So
okay.
There's a difference between the white community and the school.
We had a lot of, so in university, what we now had a lot of as a minority, as a major minority, were like the Asians, so like Pakistani, Indians. So they were the ones who got most of the stick. So it was like, it was always Paki, and then the black guys just look at you like, they won't drop the N-bomb, like, black coat. That's all you'd ever, like, you hear from them, but I was embedded in the town because I was in uni, so I had uni friends, but I also worked in the bar. That exposed me to a lot of the locals, and then I became a fighter, so I was on the scene and I represented Sunderland. So I'm like, I'm coming out, I'm representing Sunderland. So I told me, and that was also the time of explosion of black music in the UK, really.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, so everybody, and then everybody who became popular, that's who I look like. So oh my God, you like Will I Am? No,
Dizzy Rascal.
I do not.
Dizzy Rascal,
I had Teacher Strider. I had everybody.
And the other one, what's his name?
Any single person who just released a hit, that week I would get like 3 girls come up to me like, oh my God, you like Will I Am? Oh my God, Tom Cruise. No, I don't look like any of those people. But alright, I'll get your number now. But so my experience too, I was kind of embraced and adopted by the place. So I hardly ever got anything. It was always the situation of, we even had a guy who had a swatch tattoo on his chest, and he would come into the gym. I told you about him before, and he was like, you know what? I've met loads of guys like you, like I hate all of them, but you're alright. You're alright. So they would always, and I was just. Really, there's something that I should stand for. I shouldn't have been okay with that.
Exactly.
But at the time, I just said, well, nobody's
No, but then that's the conversation I've been having all week. Sometimes, as black people, we are content with getting in, but not bringing everyone in with us. Yeah. And I think for me, it's what I'm now actively trying to do, to say it's not okay for Grazia magazine to call me and want to have conversations with me. Who do I get into those meetings with? Because that's how we're going to bring the change, So I find that, I experienced racism, and I experienced it publicly. I had, people like Saskia say to me, take your chip off your shoulder,
I remember Saskia.
Yeah. So I had people, I lived in a house with people for 3 months but then I think a bit like you, I was ignorant to it. I'm like, I'm like, because I am the cheese. I don't even know what your problem is, But the thing is, when you now come out and then you look back and you think, oh my God, all of that happened to me. Like, how am I okay with all of that, So, as I just said, earlier, it's about getting in and getting in with our tribe. It's no longer about, I'm okay with just being the only one in the room. Which leads us, you were married to a white woman.
I was.
How was that?
How was that? Like, same thing. Like, just the same way I didn't know anything about his tribe and didn't mean.
You didn't know she was white?
No, I knew she was white, but I didn't even go through the whole. You guys all seen that movie, Get Out?
Yes.
Like, there's been those other movies that have that, or Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, where you're like, oh, I'm taking someone from another race home. But I was so embraced, I was so loved, like the way you felt by all these people. I never felt like, in fact, the only place there was tension was bringing her here. Like, me being introduced to everybody on that end
was easy.
I was even excited. Oh my God, but like now, like I'm bringing a white girl home.
Why do you think that was a problem?
It was a problem for a lot of people for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The older generation, it's like I've heard also. It's like I wouldn't even say who the person is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll say my father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, well, white people don't age well. Like, you know, they won't marry her. Why is that coming for you? And he didn't tell me. He told his friend who told me. Like, your father thinks you're gonna get old real quick. Why does that?
Yeah. Why?
So that was one reason.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a lot of Nigerian girls who just felt like my marriage wasn't valid because it wasn't to a Nigerian person.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They were like, no, it doesn't count. Like, what do you mean it doesn't count? Like,
I'm committed to this.
Yeah,
person,
she's not here. She's white.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does that mean that my marriage doesn't count?
Yeah.
So, but that's what. So the difficulty wasn't on that end. The difficulty
Was on this end.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me to the next question.
That's why only 6 people were invited to my wedding.
Only
And
6.
he was like,
Really?
I get this.
he invited somebody else. I think who?
Did I invite anybody?
But you ended up being more than. I only invited 6, but like 7.
Let me tell you the most ridiculous thing. I took his marriage so serious.
Oh wow.
He was so.
You are like the best friend of life.
Oh,
He was more dressed up than I was.
I wore the best suit I had.